Hi, my relatives. Welcome back to another episode of the Our Storytellers podcast, brought to you by our partners at the Indigenous Screen Office, our friends and family at the ISO. They work so hard to help Indigenous content get out there and support Indigenous creators. So, hands up to them. Thank you so much for helping us bring the Squamish Nation podcast to life. On today's episode, we're joined by Christine Baker. Christine is a matriarch from the Squamish Nation who has had a really long and vast array of different experiences. But, she takes us back to a time where, harvesting on the lands was more common, and what her father taught, Simon Baker, what he taught the family to take care and to look out for one another. And she talks a lot about what it means to be from this community and the blessings of being able to raise your own children and grandchildren on the community as well too. So, I could sum it up as best I could, but I think that Christine does an amazing job at doing it. So, without further ado, please welcome to the Our Storytellers podcast, Christine Baker.
Hello, my relatives. How are you? Here at Our Storytellers, we care about your spiritual, mental, emotional, and physical well-being, which is why we want to inform you that this podcast discusses topics that may cause trauma to listeners and viewers. These subjects include mentions of Indian residential schools, assimilation, ongoing harm, colonial impacts, and much more. Our Storytellers recognizes the need to minimize risks associated with traumatic subject matter. The Hope for Wellness Helpline offers immediate help to all Indigenous people across Canada. It is available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, to offer immediate support and crisis intervention. Services are available in English and French, and in Nehiyaw, Anishinaabe-Moin, and Inuktitut upon request. If you or someone you know are experiencing any harm, no matter how big or small it's perceived to be, you can call the toll-free helpline at 1-855-242-3310 or connect to the online chat at www.hopeforwellness.ca. Kinanaskaman, I'm grateful for you. Your ancestors are always with you. All my relations, Riel.
Christine, thank you so much for coming to sit with us today. My name is Riel Drury. I'm Métis from Nehiyaw and Soto background, and pretty much how all this kind of got started was, Mom was doing some research, and I wrote a grant from the Indigenous Screen Office who provided the honoraria for you today.
Oh,
So big shout out to them for helping us fund this series of podcasts, and it's been so great to get to sit down with a bunch of different matriarchs from the nation and learn. And I joined Mom's family when I was 10, 11 years old, when my mom and dad got together, and I blended right in. Our first podcast guest ever on this was Granny. So Granny wanted to do the podcast, and she asked me to get it done, so we made it happen. And it's grown so much since then, and I have a blanket and tobacco for you here. And but I'm actually Métis. I'm from the prairies, is where my dad's from, and but it's been great to get to know the family through these podcasts and get to know the community down here too. And yeah, I'm super grateful. So I'll pass this over to you, and in your own way, please introduce yourself.
oh, thank you, thank you. We'll see him. Hi, hi. Oh. Okay. My ancestral name is Khot-La-Cha, and I received that through my grandfather's lineage, who was Khwakwa-Kiwak. I don't hold a Squamish name. My English name that I carry is Christine Baker. My father is Robert Baker, the real Bob, and my mother was Pauline, who is from up north as well. My dad's mother was Christine Cook from Khwakwa-Kiwak country. And so I'm named after her, my grandmother. I was born in Alert Bay. My parents met up there when my dad was a fisherman, and my mother was working in the hospital in the laundry room. And I was told that my mother was arranged marriage through the big house, the long house, years ago with my grandfather, and that's what he did. He arranged marriages years ago. And my mother was a little girl back then, and he arranged her to marry somebody in Alert Bay. My grandfather died from tuberculosis in 1955, and my mother went against his wishes and married our father, my father, in 1957,
Wow.
before I was born. I was born in December 1957. We stayed there for a year, and we were back in those days in the 50s. We were guided by Indian agents and police. They were still very rapid in controlling our people on the reserves.
Yeah.
And they basically told my father, my parents, that you need to move back to Squamish or we're going to take your status away.
Wow.
So I think I was about a year and a half and uprooted my mother and my dad, and they moved down here in Squamish. But they couldn't live in North Vancouver. He wanted to be close to his sister, my Auntie Gwen Harry.
Yes.
And so we lived in a shack just down in Squamish.
Yep.
We lived in a shack that one of our band members left. Apparently, they built this house for somebody, and the church, who still had words and of encouragement, to move down to Oslahan area
Oh, okay.
and join the church, because there was a lot of long houses and we had a lot of people up in Squamish, and the church basically said, no, we don't want you living there. And so my dad and mom covered the windows with thick plastic, and there was a wood stove in the living room. And I remember that, and there was, what do you call that, the light, the gas lights,
Oh, the pilot lights on the yeah.
coal lamps. And I remember that when I was a little, because I thought I was living in a cave. There was no lights. It was coal
okay.
lights, and then the fire, the stove, and
No electricity.
no electricity. And in the back, my dad got one of those mandarin oranges, the boxes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he put it in the back, and that was our fridge in the back.
Because they came in wooden boxes in
Yes.
those days, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
Crates.
crates.
Yeah.
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 And we stayed there for a little
I
while.
love those crates.
And the papers to wrap the oranges.
Crinky.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I think I was about maybe 4 or 5 years old when we got our house built, just above my Auntie Gwen's. And when we moved up there, we had to use my little wagon. And I remember crying because my dad was putting stuff on my wagon and bringing it up
Pulling it
to
up
the
the hill.
house. And I was crying, thinking he was going to break it.
Oh, no.
And then finally he let me in the house, and I thought I was in a palace because the floors were lino, the lights, we had lights,
Oh, electricity.
and the toilet.
Flush.
I was flushing the toilet because I thought it was so cool.
Oh, nice.
And then we lived there for the time. My mother, she became involved in the community. My dad went logging in the winter months.
Yeah.
He was a boatman down on the ocean front there.
Oh, okay.
And then he went fishing in the summer. So we used to board up our house and go to Alert Bay,
Yeah.
and I'd stay there every summer.
Right. Wow.
for a number of years. Every summer.
As a kid, like
yeah.
that would be your summers.
Yeah. So that's kind of what I did. Also, I was a bit of a tomboy. I played football, and my cousin taught me how to box. So I used to beat up the boys,
Nice.
Nice.
win the marbles off of them, and you know.
Nice.
And the girls wanted to play dolls, and I said, absolutely not. I played guns with the boys.
More
So,
fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was pretty much my life. I had some challenges through my years. We were the first. I feel like I am the first generation that went to a public school.
Yeah.
My parents came from residential. But growing up, I didn't realize that my parents, because I was taught Squamish language in the old Totem Hall, and I was around 8
Yeah.
with Chief Don McCharlie. He used to come up and teach us.
So he's my half uncle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when I went home, I was pretty proud. I learned in Squamish the numbers and the colors and animals and stuff.
Oh, fantastic.
And my parents would say, we don't do that in this house. And every time they had a cultural function in the Totem Hall, they told me that I had to stay away because they were scared that they were going to take me if I practiced my language and my culture.
Yeah.
That they would take me to residential. I just figured that out. And
Those fears lived very actively in the community.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So today, as much as I love to learn my language, it's very hard to keep it. Because I have that, back in the mind,
Me too.
the fear of that. So I feel, very blessed when, I have a son, a foster son, who completely speaks Khot-La-Cha in the big house.
Yeah.
He stands there and he speaks it, and he's wonderful.
And what a beautiful thing to be able to
Yeah.
see, right? Because he's
Yeah.
so connected then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I have, aspirations, and I love it when I see little ones speak in our language.
Yeah.
They're taught today they're taught in daycares, preschools, kindergarten, and then now in our elementary.
Yeah.
And today I sit on the education committee to make sure that we don't lose any of that stuff.
Mom, you should tell her the story of the kitten that's Spanish. Tell her that.
Oh, that was Auntie. It was Iris, right?
Yeah.
My Auntie Iris was sharing a story with us about her granddaughter was going, and she's at the preschool, and she's learning, to speak and stuff, and she's coming home sharing with her granny all the words and everything, and she shares, and she comes back, she says, "Oh, granny," and she shares the words and all this, and she says, "I'm speaking Spanish." And she says, "Squamish." She goes, "Yeah, Squamish." So it was so funny to her, right? And she says, but she just loved it because, but that's, our preschoolers.
Yeah, they're doing great. They're doing great.
Right? So it's hearing the language, it's fantastic. And
Yeah, and being the oldest has had my challenges in my life.
how many siblings do you have?
I have 4. We have a late brother. He's been gone now for 10 years. And alcohol just took his life. He could not stop.
Yeah.
I have a baby brother. I still call him my baby brother. He's old for 50 something.
Mine too. He's
And-
58 or 59, and he's still my baby brother. That's how I refer to Warren.
56, I do believe he's 56. And he doesn't remember our mother.
So, no.
We lost our mother when I was 18. And my oldest brother was 14 or 13, and my sister was 8, and then he was 6.
Just a little boy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the alcohol took her life.
Oh, okay.
What was your mother like?
Because of I'm the oldest, I had the blessing of having her come to my school for events, my Christmas events, and she helped me with my brownies and guides. She was very participant. I loved her, and a lot of community loved her because of she was very pretty, and she had black hair, and they just loved her, and she was involved in the community. She was with a group called the Homemakers,
Yeah.
the women homemakers.
Yep.
I've learned so much about this
We
group.
have.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
My
she
mother-
was part of that too.
Yeah, my mother
Fantastic.
was part of that, and you could see a picture of her in the paper, and they all got those pointy.
The cat glasses.
Yeah, and it was
It was a thing.
interesting
My mom
to
had
see.
those too.
Yeah,
Yep. Yep.
and I hated glasses because they were trying to put glasses on me, and I crushed them, and yeah.
Did you need them at that time?
Yeah, I did.
You did, eh? Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. But I hated glasses.
I didn't
so,
need mine till I was 40.
Yeah,
You know.
but as I got older, I thought, okay, I got to stop squinting.
Can't see anything. You're like this eventually. It's like
Yeah, yeah.
that's
so,
what I do. It gets so bad with when they need to be changed.
Yeah.
It's harder to read. Eh?
So my parents basically didn't know how to raise us. They never gave me any skills. I didn't know it. Like my parents never talked to me about sex ed. Nothing like that. I had to learn on my own through elementary. Yeah, trial and error.
school.
Yeah.
I have a question about the homemakers, actually. So, Gwen was telling us that everybody would get together and have those, like, sports day events or something like that. Do you remember going to those as a kid? They had big events all
I
the
had to
time.
participate in everything.
Yes, it's
Yeah.
different on talking to somebody who did the organizing and then talking to the kids who had
We
to
had to go.
participate.
We had to go.
Yeah.
to
That's
support the homemakers. And one of the things I do remember
Mom
at the
makes you
totem
go.
hall when they do have events, the ladies really taught us. We had to participate. We had to serve food. We had to prepare the food as young children,
Yeah.
and we were taught all that. And today, they're not teaching that to our kids. When we have an event, it's all catered, and that breaks my heart because I remember sitting in the kitchen peeling potatoes and listening to the moms and the ladies. They'd be laughing away about their husband or what happened to them, and the
Community
kids.
chatter.
Yeah, it was really nice. And I'd be laughing, not knowing what they were laughing about, but I'd be laughing too because it would be a lot of fun because you're part of it.
Yeah.
And so, they'd stop and they'd say, okay, Christine, Carol and all the ladies, all us young ones had to go upstairs and bring all the food upstairs because the totem hall, the kitchen was downstairs.
Oh, right.
And
right,
then
yeah,
we had to go upstairs to bring all the food upstairs. We didn't have elevators, back in the day.
Legs.
Yeah, you had legs and arms,
Yeah,
and a strong young back. Get going.
yeah. So
I
that
remember
was
that a lot of that too, because it was always we were told go help. You go in the kitchen, you go find something to do, you go and help out, see what needs to be done. It was
and that's what we
always
did. Yeah,
That way, right?
yeah. That's what we did.
Nursery school too, remember?
Yeah.
The totem hall was the nursery school.
Yeah,
Oh,
they moved the
right.
nursery
Yeah,
school
yeah.
in the old totem hall. And then as I got older, we used to break in the window and play in it. And we had a few drinks.
Yeah, as teenagers and that,
Well,
or younger.
One of the things that happened to me when I was 8 years old, I was raped. And as a community of kids, we had to learn how to defend ourselves. And one of my cousins taught us how to box after that happened.
Right.
And so it was not said or it wasn't shared in the community, but they knew something was going on.
Right.
I never told my parents what happened to me because I was afraid. And one of the things that I've learned in my healing journey is, I had to deal with that trauma. I went to Tsausalalem for grief and loss,
Yeah.
and I had to talk about that. And they brought me back as an 8-year-old child and said, you did not do anything wrong, and it was not your fault. And the group hugged me, and it was very, very, it was so overwhelming.
I've heard
But-
really great things about that program, and I spent a lot of time with Mitzi, when I worked in corrections, sending people up there and talking about their programs. It's
And that's half the battle,
Yeah.
that's some of the things that our community members have to heal. And they have to talk about it, but it's a secret to this day, still a secret. They don't want anybody to know because it's their family member or, it's whatever.
Right.
So, in one of my things that, in my healing journey, I used to go in women's circles. I used to go to AA meetings, when I first started my healing journey. And I listened to community members talking about, I was raped.
Wow.
And I'm like, what? And it kind of threw me for a loop.
So others too were sharing the same experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it wasn't the same person. It was on a different reserve.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So it was something that I learned in my healing journey. Then that I wasn't the only one. And that it was running rampant in our community.
Yeah.
And nothing was done.
Yeah. Discovering that would be quite a profound feeling, I think.
Because,
Becoming aware of how
Yeah.
prolific something like that is.
so when my parents, they drank on the weekends. So we'd go to different houses. And I remember I went to a house, and this lady, she would bring all the children would sleep on her bed, and she'd put a bunch of knives on the door. And she'd say, I'm protecting you so you don't have to worry.
Yeah.
So we'd all sleep with her, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Your dad talked about that happening when he was a kid too.
Wow.
They'd have a knife in the door and don't come out.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that we learned that. And we also, after what happened to me, we'd put stuff on the window. So if anybody tried to open the window,
Right.
that you can hear it like bells.
Right.
Yeah.
It would make noise. You could-
Yeah.
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 Warning systems, early warning systems.
Yeah, as a child.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
You learn to arm yourself with safety things and do stuff
Yeah.
to protect yourself, your siblings.
And I guess it really affected me because by the time I was 11,
Yeah.
I started experimenting with alcohol. I started stealing my parents' alcohol
Okay.
and stealing their cigarettes because they smoked as well. And then I just spiraled. School wasn't on my agenda. I used to go to school, but we also partied.
Right.
And I didn't party on the reserve. I partied off. So I had a lot of white friends, and I went to their houses, and their parents weren't home, so we partied in the backyard or whatever. Or there was a place that a lot of us underage people used to go to, by the creek in Squamish or Ballycliff.
Oh,
And we
yeah.
used to drink, stealing our parents, or people used to buy us alcohol and stuff like that. And then by the time I was about 14, my mother was drinking really hard then. And my dad didn't like it because he'd come home from work and she was not, supper wasn't ready,
Yeah.
the house wasn't clean,
Yeah.
and she wasn't doing her duties, her wifely duties. And so they'd argue and fight, or he would beat her up. And so I didn't like that anymore. I didn't like him hitting her. So I jumped in front of him that one time, and he said, I'll beat you up too, or something like that. And then I grabbed something and I said, try it.
Yeah.
And then after that, I ran away. I went to the city, and I lived on the streets for 3 months. I was a runaway in Vancouver, downtown Vancouver. And I lived on the street. By the first month, I was sniffing glue because I couldn't afford any of the other drugs, right?
Yeah.
And I just numbed my brain. And my dad actually used to come down on the weekends and look for me in downtown Vancouver.
Yeah.
And he had a worker that was his relative from up. He used to fish with him. He was working downtown Vancouver, and he was asking him, can you help me find my daughter?
Looking for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it turned out that the guy got a hold of the Vancouver City Police, and they had little school pictures of me.
They
And
found you.
yeah,
Yeah.
they caught me in a restaurant. And I said, no, that's my sister. Trying to get out of it.
Yeah.
And then they called my grandfather, who lives here in North Van, Joe Baker, and his second wife, Ann Broachy.
Broachy. Okay.
Yeah. And I remember him coming over to pick me up, and I stayed at Vancouver City Police. They didn't put me in jail, but they had somebody looking after me while he came and picked me up. And I remember Anne, I jumped in the back seat, and Anne, she threw a pillow at me, and she swore at me and said, wake us up at 2 a.m. or whatever time it was.
Oh.
And so the next day, the social worker came to get me. Yeah. And brought me back to Squamish. And I never went back to the city.
To the city. Okay.
My dad said, I don't want you running away. I want you to stay. I won't give you any more curfews or any rules. You're free to do whatever.
Yeah.
But you need to stay home and go to school. So that's what I did.
Yeah.
Didn't stop me from partying, though.
Well, no curfews, right? He just
Yeah.
wanted you to stay. He gave you
Yeah.
some real limited kind of boundaries to
Yeah.
work within.
So I'd go to parties and stuff, and I got pregnant.
Oh,
I was 15 when I got pregnant.
I did too.
And then I went to go see, I found out I was pregnant, and I went to go see him and told him, and he said, no, that can't be true. And then I ended up going back to school in the week, and then I went back to go see him, and he picked up he literally took all his stuff and moved back to Ontario.
Who, the guy?
The
Yeah.
guy.
Yeah,
Wow.
they left.
Wow.
Yeah. So I didn't tell my parents I was pregnant. I just hid
They
it.
didn't found out?
They didn't know.
Oh.
So I didn't go to the doctor. I just held this baby in me, and I went to school, and I was getting chunky, and I wore a puffy jacket,
Yeah, yeah.
and
Hid it for a long time?
until I went into labor.
Holy.
I was 8 months when I went into
A
labor.
little early.
And my parents thought I was in a car accident because I went to the hospital. because the doctor said, "You're in labor. You need to go to the hospital." I'm like, "What the hell's that?" And he said, "Your baby's coming." I said, "What? How do you take this out?" And all this, because I didn't know.
Wow.
Oh no.
And so I took a cab, and I went to Squamish General, and I was in labor, and my mother came, and she's like, "What the heck are you doing?" I'm too young to be a grandmother. I think she was only about 30, 34, or maybe.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I said, "I don't know, Mom. I don't know."
Yeah, because you were 15 at the time, right?
Yeah. And so the hospital doctor said, "This is too complicated for us." And they sent me down to St. Paul's Hospital.
Oh, right.
And I had my son there. And they were trying to, while I was on the table, they were trying to get me to sign documents and stuff.
Take him away.
Yeah. And I said, no, I can't. I got to wait for my mom and my dad. I'm not signing nothing, so bugger off.
Good for you.
And so my mother came down, and she just went straight to my grandmother's, and she was crying. She couldn't believe I had a child and didn't tell her.
Mm-hmm.
And my dad was devastated. And so my granny came to see me when I was in the hospital for a couple of days, and she only speaks Khot-La-Cha. She doesn't speak any English, just limited.
Yeah.
So she came to St. Paul's Hospital, and it was nice to see her, and she was like, "No good, no good. Where's baby?" She said, "Where's baby?" I said, "I don't know, Gran. I've never seen him yet." And she got real angry.
Yeah.
She went over and she talked to the nurse, and she was yelling at her in Khot-La-Cha. And the nurse,
Good for her.
the nurse came running, and she goes, "What is she saying?" I said, "I think she wants us to see the baby, my baby." She goes, "Oh, it's down in special nursery downstairs. We're going to have to take you in a wheelchair."
Okay.
Then my grandmother's standing there, and she was real angry.
Yeah.
I said, "They're going to take me to see baby now, Granny." So she came with me in a wheelchair. And that's the first time I saw my son.
Wow.
With your grandmother.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Wow.
Because she pushed the issue.
yeah,
Good for her.
yeah. And he was in
Very
a
strong, eh?
little incubator, I think he was.
Oh, right, because he was early.
Yeah,
So he was almost a month early?
yeah.
Yeah.
So I was in labor I went in labor Friday afternoon.
Yeah.
I didn't have him until Monday morning,
Oh, wow.
about 6 o'clock. They finally pulled him out.
Wow.
Wow.
And he was a all but 5-pound, 7-ounce baby boy.
Good Lord. Just a tiny, tiny little one.
Yeah.
Yeah, just a tiny little guy.
And today he just turned 51.
Fantastic.
Happy birthday to him.
Happy birthday. Wow. How does that feel to have a
Yeah.
I was like,
51-year-old
"Oh my
son?
lordy."
Hey, my relatives. Super quick pause in this episode of Our Storytellers just to let you know that this podcast is brought to you by our partners at the Indigenous Screen Office. The Indigenous Screen Office supports Indigenous narrative sovereignty through storytelling on screen. They provide grants to small podcasts like us to support our growth and to support the guests that we can have come on. Big thanks to them. Please check them out on Instagram. Please check out their website. You never know, there might be an opportunity for you on there, especially if you're creating content. Get out there and check them out. Thank you so much to our partners at the Indigenous Screen Office. Back to the podcast.
Hey, the daughter I had became a scoop, and she was adopted out. So,
Oh, okay.
she would be like 47, I think, today. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they've really fought hard for me to sign the documents.
Of course they do.
And I
Coercion
said, no,
is
no.
the way, yeah.
And then my dad sat me down in the hospital, and he said, "If we take this baby, you're to go back to school, and you are going to look after this baby, not us."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Okay."
Like, what does that mean? Not quite sure what we're signing up for, but okay.
So
Wow.
this is before Pampers and all of that. He had cloth diapers.
Yeah.
So I had to clean his dirty diapers every day and hang them out in the laundry thingy out on the line. And didn't know what the heck I was doing.
All this is brand new.
Yeah.
Everything.
What did he teach you?
That, like, no matter what I did, he always loved me. I was a terrible mom at times. We didn't have family program
Yeah.
back in those days. And you just kind of wung it.
Yeah.
And I fought really hard for him in school. Any teacher had said anything about my son, I'd be right there. I advocated for him. I said, you're just not teaching him right.
Yeah. You're the grizzly
know?
bear behind him.
And I literally, I fought for him. And I held him back in grade 7. I said, no, you're not putting him in high school. He's not ready. There's something going on with him, and I don't understand what's going on with him.
Wow.
And so he repeated grade 7, and I was devastated. So I sat down with the education coordinator back then, and that was May Harris in Squamish.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I sat down with her, and I cried, and I said, I don't know what to do. There's something wrong with my son.
Yeah.
And so I went through, I got my hands on yellow pages back then.
Yeah.
And it was that thick. And I went through it. And I was looking for a special school. I needed for him to go to a special school. This school was not doing it for me.
Right.
And I saw the child school psychologist. It was a man. And he just basically said, oh, you'll be lucky if he makes grade 10. And I said, you're lucky I'm in an office. I punched you right in the face. How dare you say that to me? And then I said, I'm reporting you. I'm going to the school board.
Awesome.
I'm going to report you. So I had my moment. I went one evening and I said, this man is telling me my son's only going to make it to grade 10.
Yeah.
That's not fair to me. There's something going on with him and you guys won't help me. And he needs to go. Is it because of my brown skin? Is it because I'm Native? Is it because he thinks I won't care for him? I don't care for him and I don't love him. And I'm a drunk and I'm a drunken Indian. What the heck?
Yeah.
What does he think I am? I love this boy. I care for him and I want him to succeed in his education. That's all I wanted. And then before that meeting, I found Fraser Academy, Children with Dyslexia. And
Is that what he has?
that's what he is.
Ah.
He's dyslexic.
Makes sense.
Yeah. He remembered everything. He'd pass all his tests in elementary. He hated writing because his 3s were backwards.
Yeah.
And, I said, his books were never, he had nothing in his notebooks
Because he had it all up here.
in his mind.
Yeah.
And they said, we love David. We love him. But he refuses to write. But every time he had an exam or a test,
Yeah.
he would pass. So I don't know what to say, but we love David. He's a good kid. He's not angry or, we just love him. He'd get an eraser and he'd play airplane with it. Get a pencil and that would be his rocket ship.
Yeah.
All of that stuff.
Yeah.
And so I said, there's got to be something. There's got to be something for him.
Yeah.
So I found Fraser Academy, and I was on the phone with them, and they said, does he do this? Does he do this? Yep. He's dyslexic. Come on and bring him in, and we'll figure something out.
Wow.
And so from grade 8 to 12, he went to Fraser Academy and he got his provincial certificate and he graduated.
He got his supports, changed things for him.
Yeah. And I told that school district, I found out he was just, and then one of the trustees came up to me and said, you know, Christine, I'm dyslexic.
Wow.
And I was like, I can't even barely say the name, dyslexia.
Yeah.
You know how many years I had to learn how to say it, eh?
Wow.
And he went to Fraser Academy. He hated it
Yeah.
because he had to suit up, be in a suit, black socks.
Oh, really?
Oh,
Hair
right.
had
Yeah,
to
'cause
not
it's-
touch his
it's
ear.
uniform based,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. Yeah.
His hair couldn't touch his ear. I had to make sure he had cut his hair all the time.
Yeah.
If he showed up with white socks, they'd send him home. You got to come back in black socks. You'd have to get your hair cut, David. I tried to get him at one of those pins, those
Yeah. Bow ties or clip-
for tie,
Yeah.
because they had to learn how to professionally tie his
Right.
tie, and he didn't like that. So I got him up. You clip it
Clip
in,
on.
Pin up.
Been on. Yeah, it works.
and he brought it home, and he said, "Doesn't work, Mom." They sent me home. So yeah, I had to learn that.
Wow.
Wow.
And that's the kickstart of my community involvement. I became involved in the education. I sat on the committee. With my other children, I was part of the parent pack, parent advisory,
Yep. Yep.
when they went into high school.
Yeah.
And I fought every child I had, I fought for their education
Yeah.
and made sure that they weren't treated any different just because they're native or whatever.
Yeah.
They didn't bring a lunch home or lunch to school or whatever. So, I fought for the kids. I became involved in education. While I was doing that, I finally, my son was getting older. So I thought I better get my grade 12 because I'm yelling at him saying, you got to get your grade 12.
Yeah.
So at night I went to local school there and got my GED.
Awesome.
And then I worked for the Culture Center, Squamish Nation. I was a terrible receptionist, terrible. Didn't know how to answer the phone. I dropped the
at it.
phone
Love it.
and I went to typing school. I was terrible at that too.
It wasn't
So they
your,
said,
your forte.
we gotta find something else for you there. So anyway, I started the arts and crafts store at the Culture Center,
Fantastic.
Oh.
and then I started buying and selling.
That's where you shone.
Yeah,
Beautiful.
and became involved in the arts field.
Nice.
And then I was feeling like locked in. I only had grade 12. I tried to apply in downtown Squamish. They wouldn't even look at me because I only had my grade 12. And I wasn't part of their crowd,
Yeah.
their daughters, their sons,
Yeah.
who they hired, that kind of thing back in those days. And so I decided to go back to college. So I traveled back and forth for 2.5 years.
Wow.
Went to CapU and got my diploma
Really?
in
Good
business.
for you. Wow.
Diploma in business?
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Yeah.
And then got at my first job with housing Squamish here in North Van.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Didn't know what the heck I was doing. Trying to be a housing administrator. I did purchase orders for all the contractors.
Yeah.
Paid all their bills.
Yeah.
And Jerry went out. My Uncle Jerry was the department head for housing back then.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. And he went out and did the inspections and all of that, of the houses. Didn't know what it took to build a house. So I went back to BCIT and took a housing. I built a little shed. And I knew what the roofing material was,
Yeah.
what kind of nails you used, what else you had to do in the walls, insulation, and all that.
Put
And
context to your work. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I did that the weekends to learn about how to build a house.
Wow.
Well,
Yeah. So I stayed that for a number of years, 4 or 5 years. And then I started working with the late Teresa Mahaney Baker.
Oh, really?
Nahaney Baker. Not my auntie.
Oh, no, Aunt Teresa.
Teresa Baker Nahaney.
Okay. What did you do there?
I was a coordinator of women in trades.
Oh.
Wonderful.
We took the ladies to BCIT. And I used my own personal car to pick up mums with kids to drop them off at daycare.
Yep.
And then I brought them over to BCIT.
For their trade school.
Because
time.
it was exploratory, what kind of trades
Right.
they would get involved in. And I fought with the instructors and fought with the school. Because what they were doing was, oh, Indian, they can buy me cigarettes, buy me gas. And so they were paying my ladies
Yeah.
to make extra money to go and buy cigarettes and stuff. So I had to nix that.
That's
I
freaking
remember,
crazy.
I remember going to pick up tobacco and having to line up for hours, and eventually people would say, "Are you here for your own tobacco?" I said, "Yeah, aren't you?" "Oh no, you can go to the start of the line," and there were like 30 people in front, and they'd push me up to the front, and I'd be going, "You guys are all here?" They're like, "Yeah, they get like $10 or whatever a carton. They got extra money per carton to do this."
There would be guys with binders,
Yeah.
give you money,
Handing it out from their car parked just down the street from the
and then
tobacco
everybody would
stand.
line up.
Yeah.
Wow.
That wasn't me, though.
The teaching,
Not you.
Not
well,
me.
The teaching
Yeah.
of tobacco here is not the same, and understand, like, it's so disconnected from how those things are, like, across the rest of the country when they use tobacco as that. Anyways, that's a whole other kettle of fish. Wow. So
When does your
these
healing?
things are happening.
When I was with Teresa,
Yeah.
she said, "Christine, you need to heal." I'm like, "What the heck are you talking about? I feel fine. I'm working." She goes, "But you're drinking and you're doing all kinds of stuff and you need to stop. I'm just suggesting." And she brought me into a couple of sweat lodges
Right
by Seymour.
Okay.
They had lodges there behind
Reuben George
the longhouse there.
in the Longhouse, yeah.
And there were female sweat lodges. So I went in there and I actually brought my sister to one of them. And
I'm starting to know your role over here.
I kind of rolled out.
Your wing girl.
I left her in there.
That's such a sister thing to do.
I'm like, "I'm sorry, sis, but I can't take it anymore." And I rolled out. I left her in there.
You
And,
can relate to this with your brothers.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, get your ass back in here.
so I remember that. And I said, "No, lodge
Wow.
is not for me."
Yeah.
I tried, but I thought it'd be better if I brought my sister, and I'd hang
the
on to
love.
her.
Yeah. How's
You
that
know?
experience contrasting with the one you're in right now? You're not gonna roll out of here, are
I was gonna try.
But yeah, so yeah, it was. I started, and then she and the late Lots to Nut, Teresa Willie, who used to work for the education. They were my counselors, and I was working up at Oslo Harvard, that we called it.
Oslo Harvard.
you? Awesome, Harvard.
Yeah. And
I haven't heard that.
I've never
one
heard
yet
that before.
That's really
yeah.
wow.
And then in the basement of the old residential school,
Yep.
we used to have women's support. In the evenings, we'd have women getting together and healing.
Yeah.
We do breath work, sweat lodge, we do crafts, we do heavy duty circles.
Beautiful.
And that was my journey. And then I started going to AA,
Yeah.
and I quit drinking completely. And this year, December, will be my 31 years sober.
Oh, wow.
So,
beautiful.
yeah.
Amazing.
But don't get me wrong, I teetered a couple of times.
Yeah.
You know, like I fall off. My partner at the time, we were both drinking.
Yeah.
And I told him I got to stop the alcohol. Got to worry about my children.
Yeah.
I had my second son by then, and I said, I don't want him to see me with alcohol at all. And we need to do this together. And he's like, no. So
Not doing
anyway,
that.
I kicked his ass out, and
Yep.
I said, no, I just can't have you in the house. It's too much. The alcohol was too much. And then,
I have a question. When you were growing up, because you're the eldest, do you know, like, did your parents start drinking, or like, was there ever a time where they weren't drinking before they started?
I think my parents started drinking when I was about 5. And that was like 60 years ago.
Yeah.
62 years ago.
So was it when things had changed with allowing Indigenous people into public establishments? Okay.
Because my dad could talk to you about, you know, they'd have an enfranchised person who was allowed to go into the liquor store to buy them alcohol.
Right. And
Yeah.
then they became able to buy
Yeah.
their own alcohol.
Yeah.
So, because I think Gwen talked a bit about that too.
Yeah.
What I don't understand
Yeah.
is that it seems like 2 generations above me, or the generation above you,
Yeah.
is like everybody was about 5 years old when their parents started drinking. Okay, like right before that, nobody drank. We've had maybe 5, 6, 7 stories of people who said the exact same
They
thing.
say the same thing, which is
Even you?
interesting to kind of, because I think we look at that. See, my parents weren't drinkers.
Yeah.
They would go and party and participate and stuff, but when my dad came over from Switzerland, he wouldn't drink here in this country. He did once when he was young, and it was the last time he ever did it. And then he would drink when he went back to Switzerland, but not when he was here. So in our house, it wasn't the same thing. Although they would go and participate in family parties, they would do that. So it's interesting when you look at where that drinking started at 5 for so many people. Interesting.
And it wasn't just them.
Yeah. Well, it was all
You
the
know,
families.
it was the families that got together. So they would drink at our house, and then they would drink at a neighbor's house,
Yeah.
and then they would drink at a different reserve, and then the farthest was Chikai. And there was like a whole bunch of us, you know,
Right.
kids. We all got together, and that's when I got to know the kids up in Chikai.
When they were starting to party together, they
Yeah.
would drag the kids up, and then all the kids would hang out
We'd
together.
stay all weekend,
Yeah.
and you know, one of the mothers would feed us all.
Right.
And then they would be like sometimes they'd go out down the river and they'd fish, bring
Yeah.
some fish home, and they'd drink down there, as we get stuck down there as well. And I remember one
Camping
incident.
out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was like maybe 5 or 6. They tied a rope around me and they tied me to a tree because we were down by the river, and they didn't want me to, you know, go down the river.
Float down. Yeah.
Yeah, and lose me. So they used to tie me to a tree, and I'd just reach the water,
Yeah.
and I'd be able to play certain,
And how
Yeah.
old were you then?
about 5.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Okay.
And then they used to bring their big rifles, their
Yeah.
guns, and, you know, if a bear came or a deer or whatever.
Yeah. Fair game, right?
Yeah. So that's pretty much. And then, you know, I remember they used to take us across the river, Squamish River, and we used to pick berries on that other side. And that was one of the things that we had fun with. Until I saw a big cross, there was a huge cross.
Really?
Yeah, and my dad said that was our land. And the river changed and took all the land away.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I asked him about that. And he said, yeah, where you saw that cross is where our land was. And the river was farther away.
It moved and
Yeah.
shifted over
Because
time.
they logged and the water changed
Yeah.
a lot.
So they upset the land and
Well, my dad's story is, where the river is now is where he lived with his family. And there was a church and, a longhouse and all of that. All of that stuff was there. And they had horses and cows and they had a cornfield, I guess. And that's where my dad hid when he was a child,
right.
when the agent used to
Agents
come.
for residential school.
Yeah, to pick him
gather
up.
Kids.
Yeah. So he shared that with us as well.
Wow.
Wow.
And so, we did a lot. We did a lot. And I remember we used to go up the river with my brother.
Yeah.
And he knew all the fishing spots. And
Of
so all
course.
these older men used to jump. And my little brother was like 10. Come on, Harold, show us where all the hot spots are. And they'd be gone all day, and they'd come back with all this
Lots
fish.
of fish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they just loved, my brother when he did that. And I never see him all day, right? So I was like, oh, Jesus, what am I going to do now?
I got to
So-
entertain myself.
Yeah.
Well,
So,
we used to use our Harold as a driver too.
yeah.
Did you use him as a driver?
They
Yeah.
used me as a driver, too.
Yeah.
They'd all get drunk, and they couldn't drive their cars. So my brother and I used to drive
Used to do the
back to
driving.
Chikai from the river.
Hi, my relatives. If you're enjoying this podcast, or if you have any feedback on this podcast, please let us know, because we're always trying to get better at the same time. But especially if you're enjoying this podcast, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. I think we have some really cool projects coming out that you might want to check out. Please follow us on Spotify. Share our reels as well too. That helps us out so much. And yeah, just check us out. Share the word. We're working really hard to keep this content coming for you. And the support helps us out so much, and we're so grateful. Thank you so much for listening. Back to the podcast. So, what was your AA experience like?
It was interesting. My cousin actually invited me to a meeting. He said, I'm going to be taking my cake. I want you to come. And I said, no, I don't believe in AA, and I don't know what the heck you're doing. And he said, no, I just want you to come as my guest.
Yeah.
I'm not forcing you to do anything.
Yeah.
And then I sat and I listened. And then they asked me to go up there, and I said, hello, my name's Christy. I'm a friend of Jimmy. And, I felt really strange.
Wow.
And then so I started looking into AA meetings. And I wanted to find out more about it. The one thing that really stopped me from going to AA is the word God.
Right.
And I don't
Okay.
believe in God.
Yeah.
I said, you're not going to force me, because I was forced to go to church when I was young.
Yeah.
The Catholic used to bring a vehicle, the Anglicans, Pentecostal, used to pick us up and they're going to save our souls, our children's souls.
Yeah.
I'm like, what the heck is that? And, I didn't really know what the church was all about.
Yeah.
And, but that's what my parents did. They said, the priest recommended all the children have to go to church. And so it wasn't
Strongly
just,
recommended.
yeah, it wasn't just Sunday school. It was Wednesday in the middle, and then Thursday, and then Friday, and then
Oh.
Saturday and Sunday.
Wow.
Yeah, different churches, different days.
I was going to say, so that wasn't really strongly encouraging. It was it was really strong arming you to get in and go.
As children, yeah.
As kids.
And then on top of that, the church came to our community.
As well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I've heard a story that's similar to that. Like the word God kept you away. So then, how did you eventually make your way into it?
Well, I asked, like I continually asked about it. I said, I really would like to figure out what AA is all about, but I don't like that word God. And then one of the elders, one of the ladies said, just call it Creator. Call it something else, whatever your mind, whatever you want.
Right.
It doesn't have to be God. White man is God. And the white man created this book. And he said God.
Okay.
But we as First Nations, we had something else. So I had to learn about that as well. And so I dug in and I started going to our longhouse when there was winter ceremonies and people were getting grabbed and names and stuff. So I used to go there and just sit up in the bleachers and just observe and just listen to all the speakers and getting to learn about our culture as a Squamish woman
Yeah.
and, what the women did and all that stuff. So I learned that side while I started going to meetings.
Okay.
So
And then-
almost like a reconnection with ceremony and AA was the
Yeah.
combination you needed.
Helped you.
Yeah.
Yeah. You put them
And then,
together.
on top of that, I went to First Nations. I went to the church over town, and it was all First Nations AA group,
Oh, okay.
Longhouse Church,
Longhouse Church. And where's that one?
on just behind Hastings there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I went there, and then my home group was at the Friendship Center,
Okay.
the Vancouver Aboriginal Friendship Center.
Yeah.
And
They've
I
done a lot
stayed
of
there.
stuff over the years. Hey, the
Yeah.
Vancouver. It's evolved a lot. I think years and years ago, it used to be in an old church way downtown,
Yeah,
and then eventually moved up.
Blood Alley, I think it was.
Yeah, I think so. Right.
Yeah.
Like I remember.
Before my time.
Well, I remember being a little kid going with parents, and they were doing things there while this was all beginning and starting. But I have like vague memories as a child, running around in the upstairs of the church while they were volunteering and doing stuff, and it was all kinds of things that were going on at the time, right?
I never did that, but I
Yeah.
did go down Vancouver for the Santa Claus parade.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And that kind of, and I was like, is Santa Claus this big white guy? What the heck?
I know. Yeah.
So anyway, it was an interesting learning, and part of my healing was getting involved in the community, but also going to my meetings, and also trying to do something cultural, because I never had culture when I was growing up. I didn't know what it was like to be Squamish. I didn't know what it was like to be Khot-La-Cha. And when I started healing, I went into the longhouse here in North Vancouver.
Yeah.
And then I started going to the big house up in Alert Bay. I went to Kingham. I went to Alert Bay. I went to Fort Rupert. I went to a lot of the big houses. And when I went to a meeting in the Friendship Center, there was an old lady, and she was in a wheelchair, like not a wheelchair, a scooter. She looked at me, and she said, and of course, I'm running over to her, and she goes, "What's your name?" And I told her, and she goes, "Who's your parents? Who's your granny?" And I told her, and she goes, "We're related." And then
Wonderful.
And then I connected with her. And so I used to go to her place, and she lived in Vancouver. Wow. Her name was Dolly Speck. And she taught me how to make regalia, button blankets, aprons. We'd sew, and she talked to me about, the what she did, hiding from the Indian agent when she was in Kingdom Inlet. Wow. And she never went to school, but she was teaching at Native Ed how to button blanket make.
Beautiful.
And the kids just loved her. And I grew to love her as well.
Yeah.
And we stayed together for I don't know how many years, but I got to know who my family was
Through
her.
Fantastic.
And that's basically part of your healing. You need to find out who your family
Yeah.
are, through your grandparents, through your parents, and what their history is. And that's, we just had a potlatch May 17th this year.
Right.
Yeah.
We're in Campbell River, and we got to meet our relatives and some of the chiefs. And it was beautiful because we actually participated in the potlatch. I performed. My children, my sister's children, and our grandchildren. And,
Beautiful.
everybody participated. Wow. My sister and her daughter and her granddaughter, all the same dance. They were on the floor together. And I was in tears. Because, like I was told, when I was a little girl, stay away from the longhouse. It's no good for you.
Wow.
And that's, and that kind of came full circle. And I would tell my children, there's nothing wrong with the longhouse.
Yeah.
Learn your language, learn your history,
Connect.
all of that, because you need to know. You need to know that. And so it was a long journey. AA saved my life and saved my family's life because I wasn't drinking in the house.
Right.
And my children, I said, no alcohol or drugs in this house.
Yeah.
You have to respect that. And we live in the same house, my sister and I, and we say the same thing to them. We don't want any alcohol in the house. And my dad's the same. He's been sober longer than I have. And he's still healing. He's still struggling with the residential school. And because he's 92, he's lost all his buddies. They've all gone.
Yeah, your friends start to die as we start to get older. You start once you turn 50 and into 60, you're like, what? All these people we know are
Gone.
going, right? They
And they're
leave.
getting younger.
Yes.
That fentanyl is killing a lot of our people.
Yeah, a lot of it's
Like
got,
instant death. There's no in hospital,
No,
nothing.
done. Just gone.
There's no fight. Yeah.
No fight at all.
Just gone. I know.
And they just, they don't understand. I have to worry about my children and my grandchildren, and my nieces and my nephews.
Yeah.
Please, please, please don't do that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's really tough.
So the key really to that, almost to the healing part of it, is making sure that they know who their families are, so they know how they're connecting with, and
Yeah.
having some connection, because eventually they connect with somebody who in the family they get along with, they have a bond. It helps to
Yeah.
have, and the broader that is within our community, we're all watching each other then, right, and each other's kids.
And, basically, I feel that because of my healing, I'm able to share that with my family. Not sitting there with a bottle of beer in my hand saying, you guys this and you guys that.
Walking it and being.
I'm walking a sober life.
Yeah.
And, I'm not pressuring any of them at all.
What message do you have to someone who's trying to sober up right now?
That, I've always said in the program, if you fall, we'll come back to the meeting, come back to the group, and we'll help you.
They'll lift you up.
We'll lift you. It's not wrong.
Yeah.
You just falled. And we'll pick you up and we'll help you. And we're not going to pray. And I've always said this, I will not preach to you.
Yeah.
I won't, because that's not my role. My role is support you in your sober life. How can I help you? Tell me your story. I'll tell you.
Yeah.
I'll tell you my story. And every time I go to a meeting or anything like that, I tell them straight. I am not the best person. I have a history. I have a history. I'm no better than any of you because I have a history and I share my history. I'm not, I'm not sad to share my history. We're not all perfect people. We have a history. And so that's kind of what I tell them.
Would you say
Cool.
that when you do get sober, that life gets better?
We have our falls. I had to go through my brother's death, and it was really hard. Any kind of death in the community is hard, but when it's your family, it really hurts. And, it takes me back to my mother when we lost our mother to alcohol. And I'm like, oh man, when's this going to stop? It's not. Because my nephew, my brother's son, was told he needs to stop drinking or else he's going to lose his life.
Yeah.
You got to stop. I have a young brother who still drinks.
Yeah.
And we keep saying, I love you, brother. You really need to stop
Yeah.
because your body is telling you to stop.
Yeah.
And we can't make them. We just can't. And that's what I share in my, when I talk. We can't make you stop. It's got to be in you. How do I do it? How can I help? That kind of thing.
Yeah, but we'll always be straight with you. We'll always meet you
Always.
where you are. We'll
Yeah.
always tell you we love you, but we want you to stop. Yeah.
And
think
this
that's the hard
with the
part,
drugs
eh?
too. I had a challenge with my sister. She wasn't a drinker, she was a drugger. She did those drugs and I didn't understand that. But I understood her pain. And AA is like, they have NA now.
Yeah.
Narcotics Anonymous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She went through that, but didn't really work for her. So she found something else. She went to a local church and just sat and listened. And that helped her. It was like me when I went to the Longhouse.
Yeah.
And I sat up in the bleachers and I watched and I listened.
Yeah.
It takes you away from, the stuff. And it's muck. It's like muck. Like all the stuff's going on in your life. You don't know where to start, know where to end. It's like muck. So you go somewhere, you go to a longhouse, you go to a church, you go wherever you feel, and you sit there and you think about that. How can I get rid of that? How do I change?
So you're changing the direction to give yourself a break from
All the
what
stuff.
muck is. Yeah.
Yeah, because it is. It doesn't matter what you do or what work you do. You come home and sometimes you shake your head and you think, oh, how am I going to get rid of all this?
Yeah.
And so we don't have magic wands. As mothers, our children think we have these magic wands that we can fix it. And I said, no magic wand here. We're going to work on this together. You need to heal in this, and I can help you.
Yeah.
Because, one of the things that I did do is I fostered a couple of children, and they were in the muck.
Yeah.
Their family, lots of muck. And I had to, with patience, I feel I didn't do too bad as a mother, as a grandmother. And I didn't have family program to teach me how to be a family, a mother. I had to learn on my own. And I learned from other people. I learned from the lady that I met at a AA meeting. And she would tell me, you just got to love them. You got to, let them do what they have to, but you're there to support them when they want it.
Yeah.
And she lost family members through alcohol as well. She said, well, I did my best, but they didn't want to listen to me. They didn't want to hear my words. So,
Yeah. Can't steal their journeys either.
no.
Right. I think we all come with to have this human experience here.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone's is so very different in so many ways.
Yeah. So while I was going to AA, I got to fill the void, I said. So I became involved in housing. I sat on the board with Vancouver Native Housing for 30 years.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I became involved in Vancouver Indian Center. I became a board member there. And then I started getting involved in the women in trades, with the multicultural groups, the ladies. And we went to conferences across Canada. I went over to the Mohawk country
Beautiful.
to ask them about how they got involved in their ironwork. How did they work it? How did they do it? And then I brought it back to BC, and we started getting our people involved in the working at the Lions Gate Bridge. Yeah, and we had to work with the unions, the ironworker union guy, and it was tough.
Yeah, that's tough.
Yeah,
Yeah, there'd be tough unions to
yeah.
connect with, especially all men, mostly, right?
The worst union I had to deal with was the Superstore.
Really?
Superstore is the worst union. We get our paychecks from Winnipeg back then when we opened up the Superstore. When we opened it up, there was 132 Squamish members working at our Superstore.
Wow.
And I thought that I earned a star, because I was in employment and training.
Yeah.
But as the months started, slowly they started.
Attrition. They leave.
Because you know what? If I'm coming off welfare and I'm working, I have to pay my hydro bill. I have to pay my light bill and my other bills. And so it was like a learned process. And so I don't know how to pay my hydro. So they quit Superstore, go back to welfare, and they paid my hydro and all my bills.
Really?
Right.
Yeah. So I had to work with income assistance. And that's when I got, what's her name? One of your aunties involved. She was a consultant. Iris's sister,
Teresa, Rose.
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 Beautiful Rose. She became my consultant when I was in employment and training. And we worked with our young people. We had about 320 young people on income assistance back then.
Wow.
And what they were doing was grandma or parents would put them in lineup. As soon as they turned 19, you got to
For
go
your pogey.
go for your income assistance check.
Assistance.
'Cause-
Jeez.
So Rose and I sat down. How do we change this?
Yes.
And so we worked on that with income assistance and Indian Affairs back then.
Yeah. How do you change generational welfare, right?
Yeah.
'Cause that's what you're describing is
Generational welfare.
right.
This is his right. This is her right to collect a welfare check. She's old enough now. He's old enough.
Wow.
So we started creating youth programs. We did the down in the old Chief Joe Matthias. We did a pole
Yeah.
program.
Wow.
The totem pole that's down in the beachfront here in West Van.
Oh, the welcoming.
Yeah, that we did that one.
Awesome.
We did a lot of youth programming, and then we did upgrading at Khot-La-Cha.
Awesome.
We connected to the high school. We got to stop letting our children go and not going back to school.
Exactly.
So
yeah.
we worked with the district, and the kids started going to Khot-La-Cha to get their grade 12.
Fantastic.
And we started working with that. And then we incorporated Squamish into that. We started doing that.
Right.
And then after that, we started getting into the trades training because that's what I was doing.
Right.
So we went down the old building right next to Superstore in the back.
Yeah.
And we started doing a carpentry program.
Right.
We did a craft people wanting to do silver and jewelry making and all that stuff. We did that. And then what we did to income assistance, before I lined up for a check, you have to come and see employment and training. And you have to come up with a plan before you see your first check.
Oh.
Try and curb that at the beginning
Yeah.
so that it deters into something.
Cool.
Good.
So-
Nice.
And that worked.
Yeah. Well, I think we were down to half or on income assistance.
Well, I would
Nice.
say that's
The youth.
successful.
So
to
4
really-
years.
Yeah, and
Took
4
us
years
4 or 5 years.
to get momentum moving
Yeah.
with it and stuff.
Yeah, 4 or 5
Fantastic.
years. And Rose was my consultant, and
Yeah.
we presented to our council back then and said, we need to change.
Yeah.
So anyway, back to Superstore. The union, people didn't understand unions. They'd bring the paycheck in, their stub. Look what they're taking off.
Yeah.
They're taking union dues. What the heck's that? And this other stuff. And so they quit. And their checks were coming from Winnipeg. And if they didn't do the proper paperwork, they were taking taxes off of their check.
Oh, for crying out loud.
So they were saying, well, you have to wait until you, for your taxes every year. Then you'll get it back.
Right. Yeah.
And they
Yeah,
were
yeah.
swearing at us. And I was bringing binders of letters from the people who worked at Superstore.
Yeah.
This is effing bullshit and la la la.
Oh,
And
oh no.
so they brought the owner from Winnipeg and sat with our council chamber. And I was sitting with them. And I was telling them, read all these letters. The treatment that you're treating our people, not good. They basically set them up for failure. And they, the other clerks or whoever was working there, you guys aren't going to last long. You guys are nothing but drunken Indians anyway. And they were
People
doing.
coming that are settlers to work in this place on our lands.
Yeah.
Okay. Just so I can clarify that.
Yeah.
That's what you're saying, right?
And then, when I used to shop at Superstore, because I thought it was wonderful, no taxes, right? And then I had the security, which is a different union than West Fair. And he followed me in my cart, and he goes, I want to see your bill. I want to see what's in your bags. And I told him to bugger off. He said, call the police. I said, I dare you. He said, don't be doing this shit to me. Just because my brown skin, is that why? And then he looked at me and I said, look at you, you're East Indian. I said, you're another Indian, I said.
Yeah.
And then I said, go bugger off. Call the cops. I dare you. And then I put my groceries in and no cops, nothing. Just because.
Yeah.
He followed me. He followed me out to my car.
There's a lot of profiling that goes on in the shopping experience.
Yeah.
For our people
I
across.
had
so much
people
here.
in tears come into the office and they were crying. I really wanted to work. And this is the way they were treating me, and all of that stuff.
I know this battle. Like my day job, I'm the leader of Indigenous recruitment and retention at Fraser Health. So I have this battle that you're going through, or that you're telling me about. I'm going through it right now, every single day. Like taking taxes off, like forcing people. I'm like, do you know how hard it is to go find an accountant ourselves? It's difficult. It's difficult to navigate that system. So
Yeah.
I'm on the phone every single day with our employees, being like, this is how this works.
And one of the challenges that today they still have is when a community member or an elder passes and the whole community shuts down and goes to the funeral.
Yeah.
Everybody's on the phone. Why is my worker gone? Why? Why? They're all this. Are they all from the same family? And they don't understand. So when we had the Sea to Sky, when we were building that highway, we had a job coach, Eric, and he would sit with all of the supervisors and explain to them, You know, you guys got to understand, you know, especially if an elder is a respected elder in our community passes. Like, we have to shut down. Families have to go and pay respects to this individual and the family.
Yeah.
The good news is we got that taken care of now. Yeah.
So, yeah. So it's, you know, it was Sea to Sky Highway was huge.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Superstore was, I think there's maybe 3 people that originally started there,
Still
are
working.
still working there.
That's sad because it's
Wow.
such a good job to have. You know,
Yeah.
like
Yeah, it would be like
regular
Stable.
grocery store. You know, people need to eat and buy their groceries every single day. Lots of hours.
I know my son worked there for a little while.
Yeah.
He said it was terrible.
yeah.
Culture. Everything comes down to culture.
And then there was the whole Superstore gas station thing that went on too, right? And all the arguing back and forth over the taxes.
Today, still.
They're still
Oh, yeah.
going
Oh,
through
yeah.
that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Incredible.
And, you know, it's those kind of challenges that we face all the time.
On an ongoing basis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, you know, like, I've always fought for women. I've always fought for our nations, you know, people, and the way people are treated. From Vancouver Coastal Health, our hospitals,
Yeah.
the way they treat our people in hospitals to this day.
Terrible.
Terrible. Why are you in here? Are you drinking again? You know, and they haven't had a drink in forever.
In 45 years.
See what happens when you drink?
Or somebody who never drinks, because I've
Yeah.
had to have treatment in our healthcare where the doctor has stood back in the emergency ward at the nursing station going, "Why are you here?" I said, "Because I have some kind of a major issue going on with my back." "Okay." I said, "Are you going to look?" "No, I don't need to. I've looked at your file." I said, "So you know that I have a chronic health issue?" "Yeah, okay, so?" And I'm arguing with this doctor finally. He eventually gives me a shot of medication so strong that by the time this boy comes to pick me up, I didn't even get out of the Emerge parking lot and I'm opening the door and throwing up. He brought me back home. I was still sick from it, and he had to leave me because he had to go back to school, right? I had to call him to come and pick me up so he could go back to school. And when I got home, it didn't stop. I still had to get an ambulance to come and take me to the hospital in Mission after that. You know, and it's like, that's like one family story. I've seen what they've done to my mom. I've seen what they did to my son, where they sent him in a psychosis out of the hospital and they nearly killed him. And I went through their patient quality care thing to complain all the way up to get somebody to address it. And the doctor and the doctor's boss who showed up to the meeting to have this discussion, their arrogance was so palpable that the Fraser Health Authority Patient Quality Care and the First Nations Health Authority Quality Care also shut the meeting down immediately. They said, "We are stopping this now because," and they looked at me because everything had to be done by Zoom during COVID. They said, "Yvonne, we're stopping this now because we are not seeing any respectful engagement here. We're telling these people right now that this is finished. You know, Dr. So-and-so and Dr. So-and-so, your disrespect here is of this process, and what's being asked of you here is so wrong that we have to close it." The executives above them called a further meeting to apologize, and like half the staff, when they were talking, like these executives, when they were apologizing, were crying. And I'm like, "You don't need to cry to me. You need to fix your staff." I said, "That's what the issue is." And it was, you know, so I hear exactly the same level of sort of engagement with businesses that are here, and health authorities and people that are doing business with our people and providing service for them, but they still continue to treat them like they are not an equal level of society, human being that should be treated with a level of care and respect.
Would you like to be a guest on Our Storytellers? Because all you have to do to connect with us is just email info@ourstorytellers.ca and we will get back to you as soon as possible. That sounds like a voicemail, which I think is hilarious. But if you email us, we'll give you a call and we'll listen to your story and we'll probably film it. So please reach out to us if you're interested in being a guest, because we love to share stories from all walks of life, from all different experiences. We think that everybody's story is valuable and that you can learn from anybody's story. So please email us and we'll schedule a call with you as soon as we can. That also sounds like a voicemail, but back to the podcast.
Yeah.
So today, I'm involved in the Squamish Public Library. I'm a trustee.
Yeah.
I'm working with them on incorporating our Squamish people into that building. Programs and services, they need to know who we are as a people.
Yeah.
They need to respect and show respect, because that's bottom line. You know, they always talk about, we need to. And I said, well, let's get going on this. Let's do it.
Yeah.
And so I've been involved in that. Was involved in the Squamish hospital. They're working on it, but they've got a long way to go.
I would love to go visit that hospital.
Where is the Squamish Hospital?
Up on the hill. Up on the hill.
Above where the gas station is in Upper
Yeah.
Squamish? And
Yeah.
is it near that university? No?
No.
Okay, so.
No, it's where our Stockmas Elementary School is.
Kind of. Okay.
It's up on the hill,
Okay.
and it's right next door.
Ah, okay.
The
Hospital Hill.
Casino is the satellites.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
the second satellites to your right. You'll see
Okay.
an
We
H.
went in
We went the other way.
the other way. Okay.
We went the other way, so it's up the hill from where we wrongly
went-
turned
okay,
off.
Okay. Yeah.
Question for you. What does ceremony mean to you?
Ceremony. Oh dear.
Oh,
Well, in my healing journey, I've learned different aspects of ceremony for myself. When I'm feeling stressed, and I always suggest to anybody to go by the water and take in the water. I stand by the ocean and I pray, or I go by the creek side. Not recently, because we have a huge bear problem in our community. They go right down to the beachfront looking for food. We have a family of bears who live in the cave in Stockmas, and they're wild.
And active.
Yeah, very active.
Yeah.
But I also do smudge. I have a smudge kit in my bedroom. Sometimes, if I'm feeling overwhelmed, I will smudge. I believe I need to smudge, because Stockmas is the oldest village in our territory. That's where our nation originated from. So it's a very old village. So we have a lot of spirit there. And so, sometimes if I feel, especially when we have funerals, spirit is active and alive. So sometimes I'll smudge my room, or I'll smudge my living room and say, I'm glad you're here, but please leave me alone. And because I've always said that it's not all angel spirits. Sometimes we have bad spirit that come and try to visit you, and that we want to make sure that we don't want to get involved in bad spirit. So I see I I saw a lady. She basically ran her hand over me, and she said, "You know, you have two spirits with you all the time. You have an older gentleman, very tall, 6 feet, 7 feet, very tall, in full regalia, like a blanket, a wool blanket or something, and you have an older lady spirit with you all the time, helping you and guiding you." So I always pray to them, you know, and that's pretty much what I do. I don't. I use the land as where I pray. Sometimes you know, if one of my relatives, they want to build a little fire down the beachfront, so we go down there and we hold hands and we pray.
Oh, nice.
You know, those kind of things.
Yeah.
And I pray a lot myself. You know, I don't go out to a church or anything like that, or I don't go to the totem hall. Every once in a while, they ask me to pray over the food, you know, because I'm an elder now. 68. I'll be 68 in December.
Nice.
And I'm recently retired. I've been retired for about 2 or 3 years now. But I'm still working with the community. Never stop.
Yeah.
Because we got a lot of injustice in our community still to this day.
Yeah.
You know, our services in Squamish Valley has been minimal. North Van gets the bulk.
Well, your career is just beginning in that aspect. So, you know, really, right? It's an active thing.
I sit on the elder advisory for our nation. I'm going to Toronto next month to pick up an award of some sort,
Awesome. Good.
and trying to organize our elders. You know, our elders, we have elders and we have old people, cranky old people
Yes, we do.
who swear at our other elders, and they don't show any respect, and we need to put a stop to that. I don't support any of that. And we're going to try policy, but I think, you know, I work also with the justice team, and I think we need to take it back to our longhouse. We need to take our challenges back to our longhouse and say, this has got to stop. You know, we have elders, respected elders, and we have old people who are swearing at our people. That has to stop. They got to change their focus, and if they're not wanting to change, they shouldn't be here. They need to stay home and be miserable at home and not be miserable at our elders when they are trying to get together and, you know, do fun stuff. You know, they've earned, you know, their elderhood. They don't need somebody yelling at them and swearing at them and, you know, being disrespected to them because they're new, or they never lived on this reserve, or, you know, they have all kinds of reasons.
Yeah.
Right.
Because I did that. You know, that happened to me when I first started working in North Van. I had an elder come up to me, an old person. "Who are you? What are you doing here?" And I told him. I said, "I'm Christine Baker.
Yep.
I'm originally from Squamish." "Well, you should be working in Squamish. You shouldn't be taking a job away from one of my family members. What the hell?" Swearing at me. I said, "I respect your opinion, but you need to know that I am Squamish Nation, and my family originally came from Capilano. So we'll stop there.
Thank you.
Have a nice day."
And you have a nice day.
So, you know,
Holy smokes, eh?
yeah,
Yeah.
we got that.
We shouldn't talk to our own families this way. We need to, even if we're upset with them, we have to tell them that I don't know you and I don't like that. So maybe tell me who you are so that I will feel differently about that.
Yeah,
But it's not the approach that's used.
no.
Yeah.
What do you want Indigenous youth, my generation, I'm 25. What do you want us to start actioning and working on today?
Basically, what I'd like to see our young people do is learn their language, learn their culture, but also respect us because we don't know the language. And my Auntie Gwen says the same thing. I'm really proud that these young people are doing this, but please understand, I don't speak our language, so you have to tell me in English. I never learned the language, but I love the fact that you're learning your culture and your language, and be part of our community, participate, whatever that is, and teach us, teach us. Because basically, I didn't learn that when I was 25.
Yeah.
I was this rambunctious young person but trying to survive. Forget my language, forget my culture. I'm in survival mode when I was that age. So you have an opportunity to grow, do whatever you want, but also participate in the culture and the language and what it's like to be First Nations, whatever, because I have two cultures. I have Squamish and I have Khot-La-Cha. I've learned so much about my family from up north, then I incorporate it with what I learned on my Squamish side. It's not different. It's all about respect, know who your people are, and respect and teach them. That's all I'm expected to do. Now that I'm an elder.
Yeah. Yeah. Good advice. It's great advice. Yeah.
Would you like to dedicate this podcast to anyone?
To my father, who is still alive today and has survived without him, surviving residential school and talking about it to the children in the schools. He's gone to elementary schools. And one of the things he always says, they challenge me. They ask me good questions. And he loves that. And, he will be 92 this year.
Next month.
Wonderful.
And he still learning. But he's also suffering too, right? Because his bones aren't the same and he can't see as much. But, he definitely can see in the casino, though.
He sees to put his pennies in the slot machine and push the button.
Is there anything that you wish that we would have asked you about that we didn't?
Not really. I basically, come from a community that I suffered a lot, but through the healing with the support of other women and other men, they challenged me as well. I had a teacher at Khot-La-Cha. He was the coordinator for me to get back to work because I lost my job. He said, Christine, you got to sit and you have to listen. You can't run away. You need to sit and listen. Because I'd always say, I got to go to the washroom, go here, go there. So, no, you need to sit and learn. Listen to what we're all about, because it's going to teach you. So I sat and I learned.
Yeah, good words.
Well, thank you for giving us the opportunity to sit and learn today too, and I'll turn off the cameras, but the party will keep going, I'm sure. You are a natural podcaster. You should have your own podcast, I think. Yeah. You was amazing. That was amazing.
You were worried about things. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you so much.
Really appreciate you.